Get ready to uncover some astonishing facts about a war that shaped two nations. The 1812 conflict between the United States and Britain, fought mostly on Canadian soil. Before we dive into the fascinating details, take a moment to hit like and subscribe to fuel our growing community as we surf around and find 10 things you might not know about the War of 1812. The United States invaded Canada. New England pondered secession, and after being torched, Washington, D.C. nearly faced abandonment. Firstly, the 1812 War's bicentenary holds far more significance in Canada than in the United States. Though it inspired patriotic symbols like the Stars and Stripes flag and the Iron Cross medals, this war often fades from American memory, overshadowed by the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. In contrast, Canada credits this war with forging a national identity, as its people united to fend off repeated American invasions. Despite the American Congress's indecision to form a bicentenary national commission, Canada's government dedicated close to $30 million for commemorations, including unveiling a new national monument. Secondly, American leaders assumed Canadians would welcome them as liberators. U.S. politicians and military hoped that seizing Canada, a British colony with a population 20% larger and many American-born immigrants, would be, as former President Thomas Jefferson claimed, simply a march. Many Americans expected Canada's citizens would willingly join the United States. Secretary of War William Eustis boasted, "We don't need soldiers to take Canada. Just officers to rally discontented locals who will rally under our banner." Yet, instead of open arms, Canadians armed themselves to repel the American invasion successfully. Thirdly, the War of 1812 produced its own Paul Revere, but this heroine alerted the British to an advancing American attack. Laura Secord, born in Massachusetts to a Revolution Patriots family, stands as a surprising Canadian icon. On June 21, 1813, the 37-year-old wife of a loyal Canadian soldier and mother of 5 overheard an American plan to ambush a nearby British advance. While her wounded husband lay ill, she traversed 20 miles of swamp and forest the next day to warn the British. Thanks to her effort, the Americans were defeated at the Battle of Beaver Dams. Fourthly, the Star-Spangled Banner's tune came from an English drinking song. After a fierce British bombardment, dawn on September 14, 1814, revealed the huge American flag still flying over Fort McHenry in Baltimore. Inspired, lawyer Francis Scott Key wrote 4 stanzas titled Defense of Fort McHenry. Weeks later, it was published with music under the lyrical name The Star-Spangled Banner. This song, adopted as the U.S. national anthem in 1931, used the melody of an English drinking tune called Anacreon in Heaven, according to musicologists who believe Key had this song in mind. Fifthly, New England's residents debated leaving the United States during the war. The ideas of states' rights, annulment, and secession, often linked to the South, first arose in the North amid the War of 1812. New England strongly opposed Madison's war and suffered under British blockades. In 1814, hunger-stricken Nantucket promised neutrality. Massachusetts's governor secretly sent an emissary to negotiate peace with Britain. Some New Englanders openly advocated secession. In late 1814, 26 delegates met in secret at the Hartford Convention, ultimately rejecting secession but firmly asserting states' rights and annulment. Before the British burned Washington, D.C., the Americans torched Canada's capital. Both sides resorted to arson during the war. Over a year before the British set fire to Washington, American forces sacked York, now Toronto, Upper Canada's capital, in 1813. After an ammunition explosion at a garrison killed 300 Americans, they retaliated by burning York's provincial parliament and other public buildings. The U.S. Naval Academy still holds a looted British lion from that event. A sudden electric storm and tornado spared Washington from worse destruction. British troops entered Washington, D.C. on August 24, 1814, setting fire to the White House, Capitol, and other federal buildings. The fires raged until a powerful 2-hour electrical storm doused them. The storm also spawned a rare tornado that ripped rooftops off buildings, bent a bridge over the Tehicon River, and even uprooted 2 cannons. According to the National Weather Service, flying debris from the tornado killed more British soldiers than American fire during their brief occupation. After the fires, Washington was nearly abandoned as the capital. In September 1814, a displaced Congress reconvened in Washington's ruined, disheartened setting, meeting in temporary quarters. Facing financial strain for reconstruction, their first order was a proposal to move the capital back to Philadelphia. After weeks of intense debate, the House rejected the motion, 83-74. Ninth, America's greatest victory came after peace was signed. On Christmas Eve 1814, American and British envoys in Ghent, Belgium, signed a peace treaty ending the War of 1812 once ratified. News took weeks to reach the U.S. Meanwhile, future President Andrew Jackson won a decisive victory over the British at New Orleans on January 8, 1815. The war officially ended when Madison signed the treaty ratified by the Senate on February 17, 1815. Lastly, the war's final outcome is unclear, but who truly lost is evident. In this sequel to the American Revolution, neither side achieved a win. The Treaty of Ghent restored the pre-war peace. Few changes resulted for the U.S. and Britain, but Native American tribes, many siding with the British to stop U.S. expansion, suffered severely. Weakened and deprived of European protection, Native Americans faced ruin, paving the way for U.S. westward expansion in the decades that followed.